Good evening and welcome to Your Call. It's the only show on Indian television where you, the viewer, can ask your questions directly to our newsmaker of the week. Tonight, a man who's one of the most respected business leaders and Indians of the country, Mr. Narayana Murthy, joins us. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in.
Pleasure.
Let's just look first at the highlights of your life and career. Mr. Narayana Murthy, as an Indian and as someone who's very concerned with the state of the country, what are your views on the current environment that we're in, the current mood of pessimism?
Well, I think this too will pass. After all, every economy goes through business cycles. Therefore, I don't think we should get too much worried. However, having said that, it's very, very important that we take quick action. We speed up in areas where we have not done, and we reduce corruption. We bring in the second slew of reforms.
You've just said, sir, at the Vikram Sarabhai Memorial Lecture that, in fact, if there hadn't been corruption, our GDP would have been much higher. It could have been in double figures. Yeah. Why do you think that?
Well, the economists have made a study, and they have said a country suffers by anywhere between 0.5% to 1.5% in GDP growth rate because of corruption. And given that we have been anywhere between 8 and 8.5%, if we had contained corruption in a serious way, then we could have reached the double figures, a double-digit growth rate.
Yet we have an economist prime minister, a man who you yourself said you know personally, to be honest, and that I think that's a view held around India. Why do you think the government seems to have been slow or perhaps lax in responding to this then?
Well, you know, we have a culture of taking slow decisions. We have a culture of dithering. It's not just at Delhi. It happens in every state. It happens in corporations. It happens in educational institutions. Therefore, the need of the day is for all of us to realize that nothing is gained by dithering. Nothing is gained by postponing decisions.
But do you see that as the UPA government or the governance crisis now that there apparently is a paralysis in administration?
If I look at data and facts, yes, it is true that we haven't had taken any major decisions ever since this government came back in 2009, which means it's already 2 years and about 3 months. So to that extent, I think we should all be concerned.
Did that disappoint you? I mean, I know you are, of course, a personal friend of the Prime Minister as well. What would you tell him today?
My request would be to him would be to take quicker decisions.
So are you saying that you don't think this UP experiment actually works, of having two people in charge?
Well, the reality is that somehow it has not been able to take decisions in the last 2 years and 3 months. That's the reality. I mean, it's not my statement. It is based on data and facts.
What's interesting, of course, is that at Infosys, I know you enforce this very rigidly, is that everyone has a retirement age, including you yourself. Do you think we need that in politics today? I mean, we've had the Home Minister come on this show and say that, politicians need to retire after 60, but we see increasingly that our most powerful politicians are all well above their 60s.
Well, the reality is simply this, that in a developing country like India has to do a lot of things in double quick time. Therefore, people will have to work from morning to late night. And that requires that you have lots of energy. And if you want lots of energy, if you want new ideas, if you want a lot of enthusiasm, then it is generally agreed all over the world. It's not me who is making that statement. Data says that younger people would be better in doing this. Therefore, I think it's a good idea to have politicians retire at 60 when you have bureaucrats retiring at 60.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. Fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.